round of this AOR season. You can see, normally, you join me, and we would be in qualifying, but because we have passed the halfway point, Nürburgring Nordschleife combined last week was the 5th out of 10th race. This race, the drivers will start in reverse championship order for this one. I'll go through that order in just a second for you. So there'll be no qualifying this time. They'll do a formation lap, sort themselves out, and they will get racing from there. It was RS last time who won in the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So will he be one to look out for today? Of course, that is a very unique track. So I'll just get that starting lineup for you. So it will be Kingma starting on pole, ahead of Knox, Nicky, Marcos, MC Kinda, Fregel, Archie, JS Barker, Pren, Racing Home, Vance, Greg, or Yuzu, RS Junior, and then Chicano and Matt will make up the back row. Of course, that is the reverse championship order. We will get those points up for you now. But it is tied at the top between Chicano and Matt. Matt, of course, won out at Texas. That very, very convincing win in a wet, dry race. So yeah, it is Matt classed first with 125 points. Oops, sorry. Chicano is second, also on 125, despite only being on the podium once this season. But he's been very consistent. He's only finished as low as 5th. Whereas Matt, in the opening round of the season, had a 13th. Junior, he is 3rd in the title with 110 points. He had that disqualification at Texas. He won the first 2 rounds, was on the podium last week at the Nordschleife. He'll be hoping to try and get back with Matt and Chicano at the top. Then RS won last time out 95 points. And he's followed by Greg on 81. Leonardo, who's no longer with us, is 6th. So Vance is 7th. He has 68. Just followed by his teammate Racing Home with 67. Pren has 65. JS Barker has 54. Archie, who is 11th in the standings, has 52. Fregel on 40. 38 for MC. Marcos on 34. Nicky on 30. SB, who debuted out last time, is on 25. He took 4th place. Knox is on 23. Then you have Kingma on 17, who will be first this race because Beba is no longer in the league, and there's a guy here called Alessio on the tables, but we've not seen him yet this season. So that is your championship order. Of course, put that backwards. Mine's a couple of people who are in, out, not sure what they're doing. But this should mix it up a bit. We're expecting a mixed conditions race. So of course, as you can see, we are in Japan. We are at Sakitto, the sort of... If you've never played Project Cars or don't know this track, it's a sort of Suzuka rip-off. It's still a very, very good track, but I'm guessing Slightly Mad Studios couldn't quite get the license to Suzuka or something. But I liked this track when I drove it. I was a fan of it. I did quite well there, so... It's the only real corner. There's a couple of corners missing. The only ones you really miss are the hairpin and the Crayola chicane at the end of the track. The chicane is now just a flat-out corner round to the pit straight, and the hairpin is now also a sort of just about flat-out corner in qualifying, or it was when I last played it years ago. I'm not sure what it's like now, but I can't imagine it'll be flat once these guys are loaded up with fuel for 51 laps of racing. So hopefully we should get going any minute now. Unless we are waiting for someone. Someone is missing. We'll work out who that is once we get everyone lined up. Yes, we are past the halfway point for the season, into the back end of the season, when things start to settle down. You start to find out really who your rivals are in the championship. Of course, right now we have it's our top three with Matt Chicano and Junior. They have a bit of a gap over RS and Greg, who are the next two cars. Greg, of course, he had a disqualification at Texas, much in a similar style that Junior found himself in, and then did not finish in Nordschleife. He just picked up too much damage and had to retire the car. So hopefully a good back end of the season, he can try and get his season back underway. We've passed the supposed start time and we've still not gone. Hopefully it'll just be a second. We have 15 of the 16 supposed drivers. Unless we were just waiting for that last one. Yeah, I started that stream thinking we'd have a couple of minutes to explain what's going on, but we have a bit more time than I was expecting. And we are finally going. So you can see the track map there, what I mean about the final corner. It kind of looks like it has a chicane, but it doesn't. It's just a sort of long, sweeping corner. It's still a bit challenging, as is the replacement for the hairpin, and the S's are slightly different. But you can see all your sort of standard turns, turns 1 and 2. You've got the Degnas, you've got Spoon, you've got 130R. Of course, the hairpin being gone takes away an overtaking opportunity, but so I assume this is a practice session, which gives us a chance at least to try and give an onboard lap. We'll see whose pet thing disappears first. That's how I usually do it. First out, get the onboard lap. And it is Greg. Well, I hope this is just a practice, because I've been told this is a reverse grid race. I imagine this is just a practice. Let everyone Get a quick feel before the race, do all technical checks, do installation laps, everything, make sure nothing is wrong. And you can see it is pouring down in Japan. Yeah, this will all be looking pretty familiar to everyone. We've had some great races around here. Hopefully, yeah, Foggies in the chat confirmed it's a 10-minute practice. I'm not the most well informed out of everyone here. I just talk over it and hopefully do a decent job of it. A couple of cars not out yet. RS, Sakitto and Fregel all staying in. It would be nice to see Fregel take home a solid result. He's been making a bad habit of qualifying great and just making some mistakes in the race which have cost him later on. Like we saw in Nordschleife, he qualified very, very well but didn't have the greatest result. We will go on board with Greg. This is where the chicane should be. As you can see, it's just sort of a long, sweeping right-hander. And now down the pit straight, mountains in the background. Into turn 1. This will look pretty familiar from the real Suzuka. Doesn't seem to be as banked as the real track. Then into the S's, these start with a right-hander rather than a left. So a couple of the S's get missed out, you're into a right, and then a left. And then you've got one more, and then you're into the Dunlop curve. Very, very slidey for the Mercedes. And the charge up the hill, the long left. Into the first Degna. And the second Degna. And this is where you would normally go right up to a hairpin. But this is a very blind, tight, cambered left-hander. It's an amazing corner in the dry. Because you are so on the edge. And then you've got a long run down towards Spoon. So it is important to get a good run out. As I said, this is Spoon. Nothing really different from the actual Suzuka track. And charge all the way down towards 130R. The Ferris wheel in the background. Back to that where the chicane should be, the scene of so many famous moments. But this one is just as tough. You've got to try and balance speed and not going wide on the exit. Greg crosses the line with a 49.6. So that is an onboard lap. There is Knox. And here is last time out's race winner, RS. And there is the man tied for the championship, Chicano. He's done that sort of under the radar. You looked at most people and you would think Junior or Matt or RS or something, but no, Chicano has managed to sneak his way in there with consistent performances, nothing too dazzling, but like I say, he's not been out of the top 5 in any of the 5 races so far this season. Only the one podium. Whereas Kingma, he will be the pole sitter when we get going by virtue of his championship order. Racing at home has found himself a Ferrari to play with, a Ferrari that has crashed. Yeah, that would have been MC, he's now returned to the pits. And there is JS and the BMW M6. There is Fregel in the alternate livery to Junior's. Very simplistic but nice livery. Some people will be trying different things in this session. I imagine most people have just filled the car up with fuel and are just seeing what it's going to be like in the first few laps. Of course, everything's going to be a bit different when you've got 14 other cars around you. People are going to be jostling for positions, you're going to be getting slowed up. You're going to have cars trying to pass you, you're going to be trying to pass cars, and it's just going to be a bit hectic overall. There's Nicky. Took a podium in his debut in Laguna Seca. It's not quite gone so well for him since then. I believe the car we are actually missing is Marcos in the Ferrari. So that will be... there's Fregel into the pits. Junior on actually quite low fuel. We saw in Texas when the rain came down, it was the Mercedes and the Ferraris that fared the best, if anything more the Ferraris. Of course the Mercedes was just really quick around that track, so in the opening stint the Ferraris might be worth a look. The other Lamborghini of Leonardo, when he was spinning and making mistakes the whole time. Of course Junior didn't get that far into the race that we could see what he was doing. But for this opening session of the race, I'd say if you're in a Ferrari, you have some sort of optimism by virtue of what happened in Texas. Speaking of one of the Ferraris, there is Pren. He's the car ahead of Matt on track. It's just Knox, Fregel and RS without a lap time. Two of the yellow Ferraris and a Lamborghini. Of course, nothing comes out of this session. They'll do it and then instantly just be straight into a race. Of course, they need this practice. It'd be a bit weird just to jump straight into the race. Of course, these guys will have been practicing all week getting ready for this. But another 10 minutes pre-race doesn't hurt. There's always something you can be learning by being out on track. Knox starting to get a bit slidey through that final corner. So, just 25 seconds left in this session. I don't know if you could tell, but from that bottom right, apparently Preds validated his lap about 5 times in a second. Of course, everyone's on different pace. It looks like we saw Greg on lower fuel, so perhaps him and Junior went for lighter loads. Of course, they're not going to be qualifying, so there's not going to be too much to learn from that representative, like everyone else opting for the high fuel, seeing what it's going to be like at the start of the race. Sorry, I just needed a drink there. Racing at Home has crossed the line. Kingma is on the run down to Spoon Corner. That NSX getting to start from pole. perhaps this is his chance to try and get himself off the foot of the table. Try and stay ahead of some cars. This is a great chance for everyone. Of course, one of the championship contenders could gain massively out of this. Because you could get through perfectly fine, but someone you're racing with could be spun around, hit anything. Trust me, I've done reverse races enough. You can be fast as anything, but if you can't get your way through well, or someone else manages to hit into you, then you can blow it all. Fraggle was last to cross the line. So there it is, nothing to really read into these times. This is all just installation laps, making sure everything is good for the drivers. Any last minute tweaks they want to make. Perhaps they want to try another degree of camber somewhere, another degree of wing. Because I know I've done that, I've made adjustments mid-qualifying sessions. You spend all week doing something and you change something with minutes to go when it works. Like I say, there's always something to be learning. So on the formation lap, as I said, they will line up off the grid and then get themselves into the order that they're going to start. So let me just go over that order again for you, minus Marcos. So it'll be Kingma starting on pole, Nox in second, Nick third, MC Kinda will be fourth, Fraggle will be fifth, Archie sixth, JS in seventh, Pren eighth, Raising Home will be ninth, Vunce will be 10th. There's a lot of praise for Vunce last week in the chat. Greg will be 11th, RS will be 12th, Junior will be 14th, Junior will be 13th, Chicano 14th, and Matt 15th. So if I confuse you by all calling Yuzu Greg, it's just I sort of know Greg, whereas the rest I just sort of know them from commentating over them. And I just needed to check something there. I'm not sure if we have an issue. I'm not sure what's happening just now. It seems there's been a bit of confusion with the drivers. So I apologise for any potential delay that this is going to cause. Yeah, we might have to start again, I'm not sure. We'll see what we do from here. Because I believe Nox and Fraggle perhaps have messed up. We might still go, we might not, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure we'll get an answer in a couple minutes. Oh, as RSs left, so I think it will be getting restarted. They won't have a practice session, of course. They'll just get into a session, line up on the grid, and sort themselves out. Well, there is the man who'll be sitting on pole, Kingma, the only Acura on the grid. In fact, it's probably the only American car on the grid. Yes, it will be. Of course, it would have been Japanese if it was a Honda. Yeah, we are getting a restarted session, so this one is aborted, and they will go again. Sorry, I still have this horrific cough from last week, so we will leave out of that session. So I was just double checking there that I was right in that Acura are American. I believe they are, even though their headquarters is in Japan. Of course, it's not unheard of for Japanese car companies to have American counterparts. Just look at Infiniti and Lexus. I don't know what I'm saying, Lexus or Japanese. It's just weird to me that you would have two Japanese companies, but I'm talking absolute rubbish. So we're getting into this restarted session. So that's everybody. I will just be nominated my job, and then we should get going. Because that is everyone. Everyone's just confirming to each other what's going to be happening. Of course, RS is the sort of coordinator of this. He's just confirming to everyone there'll be no practice. It's just going to be straight in and sort yourselves out. And there we go, we are going into the race. So at least we got our customary onboard lap. It was a bit weird seeing people going around and not trying to call out who's on pole, who's gone where, and who's done what. But that is what the race is for. Have people who are at the foot of the table will try and make the most of getting a chance to start at the front. You'll have the guys at the back who are normally fighting for wins and podiums, trying to see who can recover the best. Of course, unlike Formula 1, this is a tighter field, more equal cars, so passing is going to be a bit harder. So this will just be the phase where they're, because they don't have practice, they're going to be locking in their setups, making sure everything's loaded and correct, checking The team knows their strategies. But is these two here who will be trying to make up the most possessions. The two people tied on the championship, and then you've got Junior. Won the first two races, hasn't gone so well for him since. He had that crash at Sonoma, which ended any chance of him. Combine that with the disqualification at Texas. It was a horrible 2 rounds for him. Had a podium then in the Nordschleife. So he is somewhat recovered. It is a 15-point deficit to the 2 ahead of him though. Everyone lines up, moves aside. Kingma will spread through the middle of them. He is pole man. You can see it does become a bit of a pickle doing it like this. Everyone trying to let the other person through. It does look like we've got some of the back end sorted. I think RS is in the right place, or he might have to pass Greg. I'll need to get that list back up. No, Greg will be ahead of RS. Archie should be in 6th. So he needs to move up. And for whatever reason, he isn't. They will line up before the 130R, and they will go on the pit straight before the finish line, start-finish line. So Kingma has some fast drivers instantly to try and fend off. He has Knox, he has MC, and Fregel, Barker, Pren. It's a pretty slow outlap. People will be wanting tyres to be warmed and oh, that is Fregel backwards on the formation lap. So is he gonna... what's he gonna do? Is he gonna recover to where he was? That should be the plan anyway. Or is he just gonna stick at the back? It's a bit of a confusing situation. So a lot of the guys there are gonna have gained a place through that. Looks like Fregel has just sort of decided to line up with Archie. So they're all side by side, odd number drivers with the inside. It's up to Kingma as to when he wants to unleash that NSX. And it's up to everyone else to react as quick as they can. He's gone now. Looks like Fregel's already off. Vance and JS having a go. Greg's going to try and get past the other Mercedes of Vance. Fregel stays behind Archie. But it's Kingma who still leads from Knox. And Greg already trying to pass the other Mercedes of Racing at Home. So these guys, Matt, Junior and Chicano, all still together. Greg's made good progress. That's JS. He's off into the gravel before Spoon. So that has gone pretty badly for him. Knox is thinking about trying to pass that NSX. So RS is having a look at the Lamborghini of Junior. Need to be brave to try into 130R in the rain. But like I said, at Texas, the Ferraris looked really, really good in the rain. And Fregel has cleared Archie. Archie has pitted. Which is probably why. JS is a long way back. He might have some damage on that car. And then we have about everyone racing for fifth. Racing at Home has overtaken MC kinda. Oh, that looked like someone else off, was it? It was, there's MC kinda is off on the inside of the S's. Oh, and loses it again. And clearly something as Knox has taken the lead off of Kingma. So Greg, next up for him is Racing at Home. Junior is looking somewhat interested on the back of the Mercedes of Vance. Vance going wide through Spoon. Is this going to be enough of a chance for the Lamborghini to pass him? Not this time. Kingma has not taken this line down. He's going to try and hold on to Knox. Pren, he's now all over the back of the Porsche of Nicky. Greg maybe struggling to keep up with Racing at Home for now. Racing at Home showing great pace in this opening stint. And now, instead of attacking Junior, RS is under pressure from the Mercedes of Matt. Is Matt going to try something into turn 1? Thought about it. That's going to be easily shut off by RS. Oh, that's Greg off. Greg down to 11th. Rejoins behind Chicano. He was one who needed to make up some of the most points. Junior's now going around the outside of Vance. That's going to be brave. He's going to have the inside for the Degnas. But it's just not enough to get past. He's really applying pressure to that Mercedes. As like I say, if Suzuka, you could have had it gone into the hairpin. But now it's just a left, which is a pretty tricky left no matter what conditions you're in. Looks like Greg's already regained a place. Is he going to instantly get another one off of Chicano? And he's gone a bit deep. There's battles everywhere. It looks like Junior's finally made his way through on Vance. Has Vance got anything in response? Doesn't look like a Junior's got the inside line. Vance left out of that one sensibly enough. Racing at Home is absolutely torn away from that pack. He's now pretty close to the back of Pren, who's side by side with the Porsche of Nicky. Is it going to be around the outside overtake? It is. He goes a bit deep. Is any of this going to interest Racing at Home? No, it looks like he's just had a bit of a poor exit out of that corner. So Greg, nothing doing on Chicano just yet. In fact, it was probably Matt who made a mistake. He's now down in 12th, a bit of a gap back to the pack ahead. So out of all the championship sort of bunch just now, Junior's doing the best. He's up to 6th. Of course, tie leaders Matt and Chicano find themselves in 9th and 12th, so they need to improve. That is the Porsche of Nicky off at the Degnas. That's like Racing at Home through. I might have shown a bit of interest into the Lamborghini of Junior. Pren is now thinking about the NSX. He's not done there. He wants more. We're starting to get a little bit of spread. What has Junior got on the Porsche? A far superior exit is one of the things he has. But has he got enough to try and pass it somewhere? 130R is not going to be an option. Nor is the final corner. I guess he just has to try and get a good run out of it. Slipstream down the main straight. Is there enough pushing that Porsche in the final corner? He's already got the cut underneath. But the Porsche's had a better exit. Junior's going to have to tuck into the slipstream. He now pulls to the inside. He's going to have to get it done under brakes. Nicky goes a bit deep. That's going to let the Lamborghini through. Meanwhile, up ahead, Pren has got Kingma. And Kingma down to 3rd. Now with the Mercedes of Racing at Home on him. Greg, after his initial assault, sort of struggling to keep up with Chicano a little bit now. RS is next up to try and pass the Mercedes of Vance. What can Racing at Home, who's had a flying start, try and do about the NSX? This will be for a podium position. This is actually Pren who's gone a bit deep into the second Degna. Vance is still got RS behind. He's actually pulled away a little bit. Maybe the Porsche head's gonna sort of get in the middle of this. And Vance can try and put a car between him and the attacking Ferrari. Is this the Mercedes chance? He's got a slipstream. He had a better exit. It looks like this is his chance. Is he going to commit? He's ahead. And that is up to 3rd for Racing at Home. Kingma's gone deep. That's going to be the Lamborghini of Junior through. So now Vance really on the back of that Porsche. Not enough yet to try and pass it. He'll be hoping he went deep like he did in the last lap to let Junior through. But the same opening has not appeared for Vance. While Knox has a pretty comfortable lead, it might be a bit less comfortable now that the likes of Pren, Racing Home and Junior are all through and bearing down on him. Pren, the fastest of anyone last lap with a 52.6. Archie with a 52.8 at the back end of the grid. So now it looks like all these people might just be closing up. It looks like the Porsche might just be making a little bit of a train behind him. A train with 2 Mercedes and 2 Ferraris. Matt is recovering from whatever incident he had. He's now got the Lamborghini of Fregel just ahead. So he'll be getting annoyed. He'll be seeing all the people he's trying to race driving away. Especially Junior. He's cleared the rest of these lot. As RS, Chicano and Greg are all 8th, 9th and 10th. Matt's 12th and Junior's up in 3rd. He's managed to pass the Mercedes of Racing at Home already. Vance has finally passed Nicky. What about the others? Vance is through. That's a car between him and the people he's trying to race right now. That's wide for RS. Looks like he's done just enough though to try and stay ahead of Chicano's Ferrari. But is Chicano going to do enough to stay ahead of Greg's Mercedes? Yeah, it looks like he has. He's had a good enough exit. Whoa, racing home sideways. He's gathered it up through turn 2. That would be one way to throw away all the hard work of that opening few laps. He's had a great start. You don't want to be throwing it away in one corner. So now RS, he's the next one who wants past that Porsche. Again, not quite recreated his pace he had at Laguna Seca, where he took his podium. And now if RS doesn't get a move on, he's going to have Chicano and Greg trying to move him on. So the longer they take... Sounded like we heard a car sideways there. Matt still not found a way past that Lamborghini Huracan. There's race leader Knox. You can see Pren and Junior trying to close him down. And now Chicano is the one applying pressure to RS rather than RS applying pressure ahead. That was interesting. I think it's because JS retired. It sometimes does that. As per usual, there's support for Junior in chat. Junior, of course, who's had a great start. Started 13th, already finds himself in 3rd. At lap 9. RS, he's gonna perhaps find himself in 7th. No, Greg's made a move on Chicano, so he's up to 9th. In fact, Racing at Home has lost out to Vance, so he's made another mistake somewhere, which is a real shame. He's down from 4th to 2nd. That's like Kingma back up into 4th. It's about a good start. Racing at Home. That's Nicky off. That is him off into the S's. Did he go off on his own, or was he put there? If he was put there, he might not be happy with that. If anyone, it would have been RS. He's the most likely if it was a hit. He was the one behind. Now RS has got other things to worry about right now than if he puts someone in a wall. He has a big white and blue Mercedes. Rear view mirror. As Spoon, no. Sticks the nose out, perhaps to try and distract the Ferrari. It's just all over the back of it. You can see how much that Mercedes gains in the slipstream. Greg's not wanting to do it into 130R, came out of the throttle. So perhaps turn 1 is his preferred choice. But RS has had a far better final and 15th corner. Racing Home has retaken that position off of Vance. Pren now only 1.8 seconds and declining quickly off of the back of that other Ferrari. You can see the race lead just tantalizingly in front of him. But there's a Lamborghini that also wants that. And now these guys have caught up to Vance. So you could be a distraction for this battle. As a sign gets absolutely thrown there. We're getting a great battler in this midfield. Greg looks like he has a lot more pace than the guys around him, but just isn't able to do anything with it. Like I say, minus the chicane and the hairpin, this is a much harder track to overtake, let alone putting in the rain. Where if you try something audacious, you could more than easily skid into the side of someone or overdo it. There's a much finer line of the limit than there is in the dry. The dry, you can send one down the inside, maybe go a bit wide and exit and left fight another day. You go too hot in the rain, you could be backwards into the nearest wall. Again, Greg opting not to try anything into 130R. RS has gone a bit wide though. Now, is Greg going to get a better exit in the final corner this time? It just looks like RS does enough to make a bit of a gap. Of course, Vance's slipstream isn't going to do Greg's Mercedes any favours. Maybe if Vance wasn't there, the slipstream would be strong enough. And there's Pren. We might be getting a battle for the lead soon. Knox, however, has upped his pace in the last lap. 52.8. Racing at home as well with a 52.7. Just shows how quick he's been. And you've got everyone in that sort of pack there, all doing 54s. Probably dictated by Vance's Mercedes. And again, as we've seen, some people who are trying to attack cars that start ahead struggle a bit, and then they let the cars that they're trying to defend from get closer. So now we have two situations where Mercedes is attacking a Ferrari. Which one's going to get it done first? Is Greg going to be able to find a way past last week's race winner RS, or is Matt, tied championship leader, going to be able to pass his other person who's tied with him, both in 125 points? Is Greg going for it this time? No, back, so no, he came off throttle, but is not fully backed out of it, and he's through on the inside of RS. Is RS going to be able to stick this one out down the inside? No, looks like Greg's had enough overspeed out of the corner to hold the Ferrari off. So that is Greg up a place. What about Matt? Is he able to do anything about the Ferrari? He's got a good run out of the final corner. Chicano, if there's one person who's going to defend from today, it has to be Matt. Is Matt going to try and go around the outside? That's deep. That's very deep. He's come back on still alongside. And he's actually, despite going that deep, he's managed to hold on. So both the Mercedes have passed the Ferraris. And now there's another Mercedes for Greg to pass, and then he's got a bit of free track. Racing home is a couple of seconds off the road, but the last few laps Greg's just been in traffic. With the likes of Chicano, RS, Matt and Vance all in a train. So that is deep from Vance into the second Degna. And Fraggle has been disqualified for some reason. Perhaps he sped into the pit lane or spun in or something. We saw that in Texas when the rain came down. Now up front, Pren is now about a second from Knox, but look who's joined him. Junior will be looking at a third race win to his season. And there are two Ferraris. Racing at Home has passed Kingma. What about these two Mercedes? Has Greg got anything to say about 6th place? Of course, equal machinery. So the slipstream is not going to be as strong. Mercedes, one of the best cars in the straight line. Nothing doing there. Now, here we are, a 3-way battle for the lead. Junior looks the quickest out of the three. I mean, he was 2.5 seconds quicker than Knox last lap. Where is he going to find a way by these guys? Oh, that's deep for Knox. We're seeing a lot of people going deep into the second Digna. Of course, there's a big puddle on the apex, which of course you want to avoid, but perhaps it's putting people off a bit more than intended. Is this Junior's chance? He's got a great run in the Ferrari. He doesn't have the right line though. Is he going to be able to try to do some sort of cutback and spoon? He might just. Pren's got enough to tuck back in. Oh, and Greg has gone back down to 10th. I was going to try and look at him afterwards because he was lining up Vunts. But he's lost out to RS, Matt and Chicano in one move. Knox has escaped a little bit by virtue of these two fighting. He might not escape for long once Junior's through. Junior looking very, very quick. Well, doesn't look like anything is gonna happen into turn 1 this time. RS has Matt all over him, and Greg is trying to regain all his hard work. He's managed to pass Chicano. Chicano went wide at the final corner. That's 1 place gained back for Greg. Now just a couple more, and he's back where he was. Of course, these guys are struggling to pass the midfield, which is helping Junior. It's Matt and Chicano. He's going to have eyes for this race. And as it stands right now, they're not doing great, but that is not great from Junior. Is he going to be able to hold on to his 3rd place? He should do. Not going to help his tyres or anything any good. He's now 9 seconds behind. So all of his hard work catching up to the front runners has just gone in the blink of an eye. Sideways, just a cup, just at the Dunlop curve. Oh, that's deep from RS. It's Digna 2 where most people are making mistakes. Greg's now made his way towards the back end of Matt's Mercedes. So mistakes have cost him so far. He's trying to amend for them. Oh, that could be a mistake from Matt. Came too hot into spoon and sliding around the second part of it. That's probably going to open the door for Greg. I don't think Greg's going to try anything into 130R this time. And he shows his nose just to try and put the Mercedes off. More boards go flying. Now Pren has really closed that gap on the leading Ferrari. Oh, looks like Knox made a bit of a mistake there. all of these guys. Stealth just fighting away and can't sort it. Hold on to Kingma, he's still holding on to his 5th place, 15 laps in. But he has that battle pack tearing down on him. You can see how they're all avoiding the curb on the inside of that second Degna. Yeah, that puddle would just be too much for the cars. Greg instantly back onto Matt. RS has been unable to find a way past Vance. Vance has been the cork in the bottle. Greg is down the inside of Matt. That move got done. That spoon corner. Is Chicano going to take an interest now? Of course, the two title rivals. Looks like Matt is pulling away from Chicano. Perhaps a lower downforce setup combined with Greg's slipstream. Oh, Knox is limping back to the pits. So what has happened to our race leader? I'll have a look at Pren's car. Can we see any damage? Not really. So perhaps Knox, under pressure, has just lost it on his own. Junior has closed quite quickly back in. He's already taken 3 seconds out. So racing at home, still on his podium. I've got him back to his podium. Now Greg has RS to pass, and then he'll be back where he was. Of course, he'll want past Vance. So slowly and slowly, either by passing people or people falling by the wayside, all the people Junior needed to stay towards the back are slowly moving up. Knox is still sat there, so clearly some quite heavy damage on the car. Now RS, about 8, 9 tenths either side, he has a car. We've seen these guys together all race, RS, Greg, Matt and Chicano, all with Vance ahead of them, and with Junior being the one storming away out of these leading group. It's a quick lap from Junior of 52.9. And Knox has retired from this race. So that's a shame. Long-time race leader, led from sort of first few laps up until that point, and that mistake has cost him quite dearly. Greg now really challenging the back of RS's Ferrari. Vance has caught the Acura of Kingma. So this is gonna become a real midfield train. You've got about 4th down to 9th, all in a line. Some quicker than others. Oh, that might be a tad deep for Vance. Of course, the predicament RS finds himself in is if he goes for a move and it fails, he could lose 2 or 3 positions. but he is safe from the Mercedes behind for now. RS is looking more feisty on Vance. He's unable to really catch even with slipstream. And there's Matt just sort of chilling out. He has Chicano behind him, his main rival. That's these three that are getting heated at the moment. Junior, by the way, has gained a lot of time on Prent. Give it sort of 3 laps and he'll probably be on the back of him. And Kingma, to his credit, is sort of keeping ahead of this group. And is this Greg finally having a look? Not yet. RS, despite being behind Vance for ages, hasn't really tried anything on him. He's just sort of been driving around behind him. Of course, he's definitely trying to do something, but perhaps he just doesn't have enough pace or isn't quick enough in the right places. Whoa, that is Matt sideways. Hasn't really lost that much out of it, but he can't be doing that too much. We've seen him sideways a couple of times this race. He has his main rival Chicano behind him. Greg has a great slipstream and overspeed on the Ferrari. He's going for it into 130R. We've seen him pull off some moves here. And is it going to be another one? RS, to his credit, might have stuck this one around the outside. Greg's still alongside. Matt's getting interested. Greg and RS still side by side through that fast final corner. Who's going to come out on top in this one? It's just a drag race. Greg's got the initial advantage, but he's got the outside line. And RS is going to try and come back down the inside. Matt's gone wide. These two still going at it. I think Greg has finally got that move done. And now Matt and Chicano, due to these two fighting, have taken a real interest in the back of RS's Ferrari. Now Greg needs to just drive away and not make the mistakes he was making. Go get Vance, go get Kingma and move on from there, because they're the next cars up ahead. But now that is Greg clear after some brilliant racing between him and RS. Now Matt and Chicano have been joined at the hip pretty much this race. What can Matt try and do about RS's Ferrari? You see Pren in the background there. He is 2.5 seconds back to Junior's Lamborghini. There is Junior's Lamborghini. So, not too long. Racing at Home is doing very well up in third. RS has a gap to Matt. Matt has a gap to Chicano. So perhaps this group might just have settled down for now. Of course, we're likely to see Greg go and try and attack Vance and Kingma. Archie's made his way up to MC Kinda. Well, Matt is the meat in a Ferrari sandwich at the moment. Matt is actually getting really interested in that Ferrari. Any car between him and rival Chicano would be a good thing. But these guys are all at the top of the table for a reason. They're going to be hard to pass. They'll be the quickest guys. They'll be some of the best in wheel-to-wheel combat. So passing and overtaking is not quite as easy as it is on some cars. Greg's breaking the 1 second barrier just about to Vance. Matt now all over the back of that Ferrari. Perhaps that line into that corner was a mistake. It looks like Chicano didn't get it too great either because he's still losing out. As we're 20 laps into this 52 lap race, this isn't going to be a short one. Now Greg will be picking up a slipstream which will just help him close into Vance's Mercedes. Kingma's just a little bit ahead, he's driving brilliant to his credit. We're behind, still a bit of a gap between each car. RS has been mighty through that final corner all day. He pulled away massively from Greg, he's pulled away massively from Matt through it. And now Greg got a couple of laps of respite from being in combat, but it's over now. Here's Vance's Mercedes, and then not too long after that he'll have an NSX to try and pass. Look at Junior. He's getting very, very close to Pren. Just that battle for the lead that we thought was gone when Junior went round, Knox damaged his car, is now going to be a thing again. So we have Greg all over the Mercedes. We have Matt all over the Ferrari of RS. Matt's had a great exit out of that corner. Is he going to try and think of something in Spoon Corner? This is the best run and the closest he's been in ages. Doesn't go for it though. Maybe he's going to try and line something up for 130R, get a slipstream, get down the inside. He's gaining ever so slightly in the slipstream. Is it going to be enough to try and poke the nose down? He has a look. Not enough to actually try something. Is this Greg's chance on Vance? Matt is wide. No, that's Vance actually wide in the background. Sorry, I just saw a blue Mercedes. And that is a position gained. Matt is now under pressure from Chicano. That Mercedes is going to be quick enough in a straight to fend off that Ferrari. RS has instantly put himself onto the back of Vance. And Greg has instantly put himself onto the back of that NSX. And to be fair, because I think Racing made a mistake somewhere in the last few laps. If he can get past that NSX, there's not long to go. And then he'll be looking at another Mercedes for the podium. Oh, Kingma's gone wide. That's left the door open for Greg. I don't know if Kingma made a genuine mistake or thought that Greg was going for it, but he went wide. That is Greg up into 4th place, just a couple of seconds. And he'll be fighting for the podium. Don't know where to look right now. There's a bit of a battle going on for the lead, but this midfield battle is absolutely brilliant. We'll have a quick look at this front battle. As Junior caught up to Bren relatively quickly, considering how far back he dropped, but doesn't look like he's got anything in response just yet. Now these 5 cars battling from 5th to 9th. Vance is down the inside of Kingma. He gets that one done. Is RS going to try and sneak into the door that was made? Kingma puts it in the middle of the track. Matt might have a look at RS now. Chicano maybe thought about it, but ran out of room. Now Junior and Pren. Junior's had a great run out of the Dunlop curve. Are we going to see our first moves into the Degnas? Not this time. Matt has Chicano all over him. So I mean, 1 minute it looks like. And that's Junior. I saw his time dropping. Again, because of that midfield battle, we didn't really see whether... Oh, and that's actually Matt off. So he's lost out Chicano, he's lost a couple of seconds. Because we were watching that battle, we didn't really get to see whether Pren lost it in his own or sorry, Junior lost it in his own or he was turned in on it or something. But he's lost a lot of time to Pren. Everything he gained, he has to remake up. Matt has to do the same with these guys. He lost out big time to Chicano. And he's the guy who he has eyes on right now. Of course, the further back he drops, the more it helps Junior. There's only 15 points behind these guys. And he's the one that furthest up ahead. Him and Greg have made the best progress so far. Racing at Home has also done very admirably so far. A couple of mistakes. If he hadn't made them, he could have perhaps been about where Junior is. Maybe even ahead of Junior and not far off Pren. That's been a real shame for him. And perhaps this battle's died down, but Greg's picked up a 1 second penalty. Easy to do in the wet. That might affect him come the end of the race, it might not. Oh, Kingma's gone deep in the S's. RS had to be careful, because Kingma could have come back on towards him, which he nearly did. Oh, Kingma's sideways. RS gets through. Kingma perhaps getting a bit flustered with so many cars around him. Of course, that's all helping Matt. Oh, and Racing at Home has been passed by Greg. Oh, Racing at Home getting very sideways. The front end of that Mercedes looks lopsided. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, the front end of that Mercedes looks lopsided, so perhaps he's put it in a wall. But look, all this has put Matt straight back onto the rear of Chicano. So he lost out with the incident, but he's instantly regained that all back. And what's Chicano going to try and do with the NSX? Looks like he got a much better run out. Racing at Home is coming into the pits, so clearly that was damage. No one would want to be pitting in this early stage. That is a real shame for Racing at Home. He was driving phenomenally up to that point. Oh, best sideways action from Matt. Not the first time we've seen that, and I'm sure definitely not the last. RS has found himself catching up to the back of Vunts. This would be for 4th place. And Junior hasn't caught Pren in the way I expected he would, or the way he showed previously. So maybe there is just a bit of damage on that Lamborghini. We saw him around, we didn't see if he hit a wall. It was at this corner, just about to come up, this fast left-hander. Not so fast in these conditions, but Racing Home's finally getting going. A real shame for him. Let's hope he can recover something very well. And Matt, he's the next one to try and find a way past this NSX, and he's not found a way so far. Kingma's been holding his own pretty well. He is dropping down the order, which is to be expected, but he's been holding his own very well against the top guys. Lives matter around the outside. Looks like Kingma just sort of let him through. He knows his fight isn't with those guys. He doesn't want to risk getting damage or anything from racing people he doesn't need to. And now Vance is the next one for attack. We saw RS behind him for ages, but RS just couldn't do a thing about the Mercedes. As Matt has made another mistake. Looks like he's made it with Kingma. Perhaps they've come together, because that is Nicky up into 7th. So Matt, the man who mastered the rain in Texas, is not faring so well here. Well, what about these guys? Vance went a bit wide. Is this going to open the door finally for RS, who could probably draw the rear end of that Mercedes by the end of this? Vance, like Kingma, is holding his own very, very well. RS has just got no answer for that Mercedes. Still no way through. It is only lightly raining right now, so perhaps we might be edging towards a slightly drier track soon. When you change the weather conditions, you can completely reshuffle the order in terms of pace. Some people struggle with rain. Junior's finally sort of closing back in on Pren. He's still in the 52s. Pren's a 53.5. Greg a 53.2. Well, now Matt making another mistake. These mistakes are really, really costing him this race. There's Junior's Lamborghini, 1 second quicker that lap. Now, RS just cannot pass Vance the way that some of his rivals have. He's been behind that Mercedes for a long time and hasn't been able to do anything. This looks like a good chance though. His first real attack has been much quicker out of the final corner. He's going to have to go the long way around into turn 1, Kimi Räikkönen style. Which he does, he's still alongside. Chicano's having a look. Not still nothing doing for RS. If you can try and hold on. So that was the best move he's had. Vance has gone wide. He's instantly switched back to the inside. Again, nothing doing for RS. Oh, that might be the opening. Vance has gone wide. Matt's gone pretty much too tight. Sorry, Matt, RS. That's RS through. Now, how well is Chicano going to try and deal with that Mercedes? We saw RS struggle. Is Chicano going to be a bit more decisive? Not just yet. Of course, he'll hope that RS breaks away, because while that Mercedes has a slipstream, that's going to make his job that bit harder. And Matt has passed Kingma. He's back up to 7th. He's 10 seconds behind Chicano, who's the man he really needs to be focusing on. So unless something really changes in the last half of the race, Matt might be losing his championship lead. But we still have this race to resolve first. Anything can happen in the remaining 23 laps. It seems the only one who's pointed in a straight line all day was Vance and Pren. Everyone else has made mistakes. You can see it's paying off for them. Pren leads the race. Vance is holding on to a very respectable 5th place. We've seen Greg make mistakes, RS, Chicano, all of them. We've seen Matt make mistakes. We've seen Greg make a few, and especially Junior, who is trying to gain back in onto that lead battle. Greg sort of matching pace, but not doing anything that's going to say, I'm coming for yous. He's just going to want as big a gap as he can get to protect himself in the second half of the race. Whereas Kingma's still in 8th. They've actually both repassed Nick. So he's dropped down to 9th. He's still in the points. He has Archie about 3 seconds behind. And is this Chicano's main chance? He's got the outside. Can he force Vance to take a slower line? But no, still sits there. We have support for Greg in the chat. Greg, who could have been so much higher up, or so much better off in terms of closeness to the leaders had he not made his mistakes. He had to do all the passes he did about another 2 times. Now Vance is proving to be the rolling roadblock, but this is a good chance for Chicano. Vance has gone wide. He's going to have the inside. I'm not sure why the race feed says that, because there's definitely not blue flags for Chicano. He's passed a blue car, but no blue flags, and that's 5th. He can go and try and catch the other Ferrari of RS. And you can see RS has done a 52.5, but Greg's done a 52.1, which is a stonkingly fast lap. That might be the fastest of the race. And you can see it's getting a lot brighter. The track is drying up. Archie is 2.5 seconds to the Porsche of Nicky ahead. We'll show Pren. We haven't seen him in absolutely ages. He is leading the race, has been for quite a while. Ever since Knox made a mistake and put his car in a wall, Pren has taken the lead and has not relinquished it. You probably realistically should have, but Junior has crumbled every time he's tried to pass. We've seen him round And there's Greg, who's been a 51. I think that just shows how much the track is clearing up. Greg is absolutely flying at this point. So who knows what will happen once this track dries out and we get into slick tyres. Don't be doing that, Greg. That's not going to help your chances. You can see a drier line starting to appear. How long is it and who pulls the trigger first for dry tyres? Well, now we have Archie, Nicky and Kingma all seem to be converging together, so that might brew over in a lap or two's time. Last week's race winner conquered the Nordschleife RS. Perhaps Chicano is actually gaining on him. RS finally, after so long, making his move on Wuntz's Mercedes. We are getting movement at the back. Oh dear, no. So Kingma and Archie. No, it would have just been Archie has passed Nicky. Nicky's made a mistake. He's 5 seconds behind. There's racing at home. One absolute shame for him. He's running in the podium, damaged his car somewhere. You can see he still has the damage, slightly lopsided front end. There's MC Kinda. Also damaged his front end, so the wet weather claiming a couple of guys early on. But it's a long race and you can really see how dry it's getting now. There's Matt. Tied championship leader. He's not going to be after this. RS has managed to stabilise the gap. There's spray coming up off of one tyre. Well, now two. Oh! We've cut to Greg as he's backwards on the exit of the Dunlop curve. We're going to see RS come into shot. Just be careful, Greg. A couple of laps and you'll be on dries. That puddle might not clear though, because no one's driving through it. Oh, Matt is off. Again. Championship leader and winner. That's Kingma off. Everyone is being caught out by this wet weather right at the end. Perhaps they're getting too confident with grip. Pushing too hard and just losing the car. We've seen Greg, Matt and Kingma all off on this lap. All through the S's section. Greg's was between Dunlop and the Degnas. He just needs to try and hold on from RS. There's 20 laps remaining. It's going to be slicks pretty soon. Junior has not been able to up the pace like others have in the wet. Pren will be hoping it stays like this for a longer time. We'll be getting blue flags. RS has done the fastest lap behind Greg. Racing at home is actually trying to lap MC Kinda, and then Racing Home is going to be getting lapped by Pren. This is a unique situation that you don't see often, but a car that's trying to pass them with blue flags being blue flagged. And Kingma has pitted. Perhaps he's thinking it's time. Combined with his spin, he's taking the gamble for slicks. Because there's no way you would pit for wets now. But that puddle there on the inside of Degna might be an issue if people start trying to drive like they were in the dry. Nicky is also in. Some of these guys might have to take on some fuel. Okay, some of them will. The likes of Matt. It looks like the Mercedes aren't holding on to fuel too well. 25 litres, that's not going to get them 20 laps. None of the race leaders have pitted yet. Pren and Junior both stayed out. How's Pren dealt with the blue flags? Racing at Home is ahead. It's not like he's so far ahead that it's get out of the way now, but he'll be conscious of where that Ferrari is. Of course, Racing at Home was lightning fast at the start of the race, so it's not like Pren's going to have a major pace advantage. And it looks like none of the people in the midfield have taken that risk. I thought Wunts might have for a second. Greg now has Nicky's Porsche to try and lap. This will be interesting. Nicky on the slicks. How's he going to deal compared to Greg on the wet weather tyres? Of course, there's still some damp patches on the track like there. There's that puddle at Degna's. I would say Nicky perhaps is pulling away. We're not really that much quicker than we were at the wet tyres. We're only about a second quicker. But you can see places like here and whatnot, it's still quite wet. But it does look like Nicky is faring quite well with those dry tyres. Racing at Home has picked up a penalty for a pit lane violation. That's 10 seconds. So Stewart's taking a dim view of that. And now we're seeing the leaders in, Pren's in, Junior's in. Are all these guys here gonna come in? You'd think they would. So Greg, RS, Chicano, Wunts, Archie, Matt. MC Kinda is also in. Greg pulls it off to the pit lane. RS follows. Chicano opts to continue. So he's trying something a little bit different. Chicano with a 51-1. Wunts pits. So we are seeing lots of people opting for the slicks on lap 34. Chicano, though, one of the few to continue. Matt only just coming into the pit lane in front of Archie there. And Pren has gained a lot of time on Junior's Lamborghini. Junior's only in turn 1. Pren's the corner before the Dunlop curve. Yeah, 10 seconds. With 17 laps to go, you can see everyone just being a bit tentative. There's a lot to... Actually, RS is coming out of the pits ahead of Greg, so like I said, the Mercedes would have had to take on a lot of fuel. So perhaps that has just screwed them over a little bit. There's Wunts and Archie rolling down the pit lane. Matt still in his box, our championship leader, has had a nightmare. Nicky has gone purple in Sector 2, so it is definitely slick time. Now is Greg going to be able to repass the Ferrari? Actually, screw 10 seconds, it's now 4. Pren has gone off somewhere. So that lead that Pren had that looked pretty good and was going to be hard for Junior to try and break is now very much within Junior's reach. Junior won 2 of the 5 races so far. Can he make it 3 of 6? Chicano now pits. Of course, you won't have the information that I have that Nicky on the slicks is doing absolute purple sectors and lap times, a 148. Whereas most of the people out in the inters were still doing 151s. So Greg fighting away with RS. This is for a theoretical podium. Unless Chicano can come out ahead of them. I'm not sure he will, unless he has a mega quick pit stop. That is Greg down the inside. That should be the place taken from RS. It is. Has RS got any chance of coming back? No. You can see this corner nearly flat in the dry. Archie finds himself in P7. Oh, and the man who is so quick on the slicks, Nicky, has bend it. Well, that's not going to do him any good. He's going to have to come in and get that fixed. Oh, and Chicano has actually come out ahead of those guys, so Greg has another move to make if he wants his win. Pren making another error. Clearly the slicks are a faster tyre, but it's clearly very, very treacherous out there. There's still a lot of damp places, some puddles. Pren sideways through Spoon Corner. Oh, Junior even more sideways. That's into the wall. That's damage. Oh dear, Junior. Is he going to be able to continue, depending on how much damage he's had, and is it going to be enough? And Greg has now dropped behind RS. But how is Junior going to fare with that damage? Is it going to force him in, or is he going to be able to continue? But if he continues, are the likes of Chicano, Greg, and RS going to be able to catch him? So it wasn't the heaviest hit into the wall, but it was straight on. So there is this battle pack. Greg with another mistake somewhere on his lap, sorry, not his out lap. Oh, that was close to another mistake. That was sideways through 130R. Nicky finds himself back into the pits for that destroyed front end. That moves racing on back into the points, where he rightfully deserves to be this race. Kingma still holding on brilliantly for 9th place. And Greg has already closed back in on this pack. He was 2 seconds behind when we saw him. You can see a lot of fastest sectors coming in from racing at home. Matt taking over the fastest sector too. So Mercedes clearly enjoying this, which Greg will like to hear, because none of the cars in front of him are Mercedes. He's all over the back of RS. Junior is going very slow. He's already lost a bunch of seconds on Chicano. Is he, or is he? He is round. Junior is round. So from being easily the... Oh dear, he has to be careful, because these guys... He is out of this race. Junior is out of the race. He was challenging for the win. He was easily the highest up of all these guys. Looks like he was going to get himself right back into that championship hunt, but he is out. Advantage Chicano, who, should it stay like this, will be championship leader after this race. But Greg wants that podium. He's a little bit further behind in the championship. He's got less to lose. And is this the move on RS? It is. Just how we saw him pass him a couple of laps go down the inside of 130R. Has he left the door open for RS to come back? He has. And now he's going to be on the outside for that fast left. We saw these guys. I know it might have been Greg and someone else actually, but we've already seen Greg go side by side and provide some great entertainment in this race. As Greg back up into the podium, one more place to go, and that'll be 2nd place, which would be a great result for him. Archie now, he's 1.4 behind Vance, so he could be on for a great result here. And now Greg, without any hesitation, straight away trying to catch and pass Chicano. Had there been less mistakes for Greg, he could have been trying to pass someone for a win right now. He would have been on the tail of the other red and white Ferrari, Pren, who actually has quite a smashed up front end. Is that from before, or is that new? So I don't remember him having a smashed up front end. But we'll wait and see. It looks like he's going alright for now. We'll see just how treacherous it is on board. We'll stay on board with Greg for a little bit, unless he starts fighting Chicano, or we'll have to go off board. There's definitely still a lot of wet patches around this track. In fact, this might be his attack at Chicano. Is he going to do it in the same way RS did? Chicano just leaves his car in the middle of the track. It's quite a narrow section. So Greg can't do anything if Chicano just leaves it in the middle. He has the outside. He's going to force the Ferrari into a tighter line. Greg's going to tuck in. Chicano is surely going to defend to the inside for that. Greg's going to have to try and go the long way around, which is a bit harder in the dry. Not impossible, but doable. We've seen a lot of people stay side by side here. Is Greg going to get some sort of cut back? Chicano has that one covered, so Chicano covering that one off nicely so far. Greg definitely on the charge right now. Pren with a 156 last lap. I'll keep an eye on that. Like I said, I don't remember him having a smashed up car, and he does now, and he had a slow lap. Perhaps last lap was when he did it. So we'll see what he can do. If he's damaged that car enough, and if Greg can find a way through, there's still a chance that Greg could have an outside shot at this victory. Because he is the man on the move. Has a look at Chicano. Of racing at home just up ahead in the other Mercedes. Greg has a real good chance with a slipstream. Nothing happening. Chicano's gone a bit wide. Greg went very, very wide. Touched the outside wall. Has he escaped that without damage? That, yeah, that was MC Kinda, who had crashed. That is someone going very wide. Who on earth was that? We'll see who that was. It was Vance. Very, very, very wide. Out of the final, or the second to last corner. But Greg, his glance with the wall doesn't seem to have affected him too bad. Or side on in this game doesn't really affect you. That's gonna affect him. Another mistake for Greg. And Greg has retired. Oh, what a shame. He was driving so well. But just mistakes have ultimately cost him in this race. He was definitely the fastest out there today. I'm sure Junior would have had a shout for that. But once Junior was out, it looked like a lot could have been in Greg's favour. But it is now Chicano and RS who will occupy the last podium spaces unless something major happens between them. Vance currently sits in 4th. Kingma still in 7th. He's having a great race. He has 46 seconds back to racing at home. So if he just keeps it facing the right way, he could have a great result here. And Matt, he's well, you would say Junior and Greg are some of the biggest losers out of the top bunch. But Matt, here's Chicano, and the man who's tied on points with up in 2nd, while he's down in 6th. Which is an awful, awful shame. But they'll have a bunch more races after this to try and get it back. Is RS gonna try and put Chicano another place down towards Matt? MC is still in the pits. He's finally out. So clearly he had a lot of damage. He's been in there for a good couple of laps. Right, is Pren? No, that's Pren. Oh, there is a big, big twist in the tail. Pren is off again. Has he damaged that car even more? It's hard to tell, it was already pretty damaged. So we are getting some real late drama here at Sakitto. These guys have cleared racing at home. Archie is having a look at Vance for 4th place. He's done a great drive. Shame about his formation lap confusion. But has Pren thrown what looked like a comfortable victory? The second junior retired. Has he thrown it all away? As the other red and white Ferrari of Chicano, and then last week's race winner behind him. So this is a real shame. You think of the likes of Greg and Junior who've retired. Had they still been in when this happened, we could have had several cars going for the win. And we're down to 9 cars, so these wet conditions then transition to dry has really taken out some of the field. We only lost 2 cars at the Nordschleife. We come to Sakitto with a bit of rain, we've lost nearly half of the grid. It looks like Pren's not struggling awfully. Never mind, he is struggling. He's off the track. What's happened to RS? He's 10 seconds behind. I never saw that in the focus of Pren. RS finds himself not far ahead of Vance and Archie. But Chicano takes the race lead. He's only had 1 podium this season, a 3rd place. He hasn't finished below 5th. But he could be on for a win in what looks like a survival of the fittest race. And Vance and Archie really going at it now. This is for 4th place. I mean, you never know. The way the front lot are going, this could be a podium. So into the S's section. We've seen that Mercedes holding plenty of people up. There's a big wet patch into the entrance of the Dunlop corner. That's going to be very tough. Is Vance going to be able to... That is Pren. So Pren's struggling even more. So actually, like I said, Vance, Archie are going for a podium. And it looks like, unless he cocks it up, Chicano's going to win. Pren could drop back behind Matt this race. He's really struggling. This race has been a tale of so many twists. We thought Pren could win, we thought Junior could win, we thought for a while Greg could win. None of them are even in the race anymore. It's Chicano who's had 1 podium, and that was a P3. And it could just be a win here. He's only got a little bit longer to try and hold on. RS is fighting real pressure from Vance. This could be a great result for Vance if he could get a P2. He's really applying pressure to RS. We saw these guys fighting hard earlier. RS was stuck to the back of that Mercedes but could not find a way through. There is race leader Chicano. He is racing it home and Nicky behind him. As far as Matt, he is 8 seconds to Pren. And the way Pren's going, Matt might finish 5th here. Now is Archie actually going to try and come back at Vance for that podium? Because Vance has just fallen off the back of RS just a little bit. He was all over him, now he's close. And we're going to have an intense battle. One of these 3 guys has to lose out in the podium. And who is it going to be? RS is the one coming under the most pressure right now. But if you're Vance or Archie, you don't want to be throwing away a chance at these podiums. This has been a race of attrition. And chances like these don't come around that much. You don't often get races where several of the race leaders end up out of the race. There's Nicky staying out of the way. It's kinda like we saw when these two were reversed. Able to hang on but not really doing or trying any sort of move. You can see they left off as soon as they... Oh, that's Archie. Well, it looks like his chance of being on the podium is gone. Pren has... Oh, sorry. Pren has passed him. The voice went really weird there. Now Vance is really trying on RS. That wet section coming into that corner is really putting them off. Matt is going to be now trying to catch Archie's Ferrari. Anything he can salvage, because his rival is winning the race. If Pren continues to struggle and Archie has his damage, Matt could salvage P4 here. Well, the way this race has gone, I wouldn't put it past Chicano, RS or Vance to end up backwards or in a wall. We've seen it so much this race. In fact, we've seen about as much mistakes in the dry as we've seen in the wet. Of course, there's still a lot of wet patches around the track. Into these sort of backwards S's of Sakitto. Like Matt has found himself on the back of Archie's Ferrari. The walking wounded. Oh, that is Pren. He's gone off again. So like I said, this is for 4th for Matt. Pulls to the inside. Oh yeah, Matt now just has to drive off from these guys, which it looks like he should pretty easily do. Well, I guess there's a hint of question now. Can Matt do anything about the podium. He was 3 seconds quicker than everyone on the last lap. 3 seconds. He's absolutely flying in these dry conditions. I'll have 6 laps around after this time. Chicano does a 47. RS a 47. Vunt's a 47. So they've all improved slightly. What about Matt? He has some overtaking to do. .48. Yeah, some of that will have been down to his overtaking. Archie's come into the pits, which could, depending on what he has done, promote Kingma up into 7th place. This has been an epic race so far, and there's still so much to be decided. Matt's not even out of the question for a podium yet. Kingma does take 6th off Archie. Of course, he has his 11-second penalty now. Whoa! That is Nicky going way, way off at the first Degna. Yeah, 11 seconds. Oh no, racing at home was 11 seconds. Nicky and Kingma with 1. Racing home's 11 seconds aren't really going to affect him. Archie is finally moving. Vance has lost a handful of time there to RS in that little section. Of course, on the straight, he should gain some of that back. There's Matt. You can see it was 10 seconds when he got through to 4th. Made his overtakes. Now it's down to 8.5. I say Chicano's safe. These two, I'm not so sure. We could have an epic finale. Vance is no way past RS, but if Matt comes through with the pace advantage he has, back into the 48s for these guys. A 46.4. So there it is. Nearly 2 seconds quicker than RS, who's currently holding up Vance. And Matt, with Chicano currently winning, needs everything he can get. Chicano realistically just needs to keep it on track. He should be safe. Excuse me. You can oh well. Our good end to the race has been spoiled. Matt has gone backwards. Oh, yeah, that's definitely spoiled. Matt backwards at the second Degner, ends up in the wall. And that looks like that done. So these guys can breathe a sigh of relief, as it would take a minor miracle to stop them being on the podium. With just a handful of laps to go, 4 once they cross the line. Can RS hold Vance off? Vance hasn't really made an attack yet. I'm sure as this progresses he's gonna try to just 100 separating them on the last lap. Of course, Vance's pace is going to be somewhat controlled by RS's pace. You think if Vance got through, he could probably go a bit quicker. Yeah, they'll lift off as soon as they hit that wet patch. There's a bomber coming. You can still see that big puddle on the inside. That could have been what caused Matt to go around. So he's still damp through this left-hander. So even though it's slicks and drivers are running around on it, some of the track is still quite wet and dangerous. In fact, Chicano did a 50.5 last lap. Could he lose his win? He's not going that quick just now. What's he going to do this time? Perhaps he lost some time lapping, racing at home on the last lap. So 49.0, an improvement. It was still a little bit slower than the guys behind. So when we thought Chicano had this sent and delivered, there's a little bit of doubt just creeping in. This is going to be a tense finish. Looks like Chicano might just have got it together. You can see he's staying in 4th for the Dunlop curve, just showing how much he's struggling and wants to just keep it facing the right way. Maybe he's doing the right thing, because he's gaining on the cars ahead. Or sorry, he's keeping his gap to the cars behind. I don't know what I was saying. But if any position moves, it looks like it's gonna be these two. And Vance has just dropped back a little. I think Chicano has this wrapped up now. It really need to balls it up to lose it from here. But crazier things have happened. And actually, Kingma has closed in on Pren. Pren was 10 seconds slower in the previous lap. I think Vance's attack of RS is over. So good Kingma again. Excellent 5th place here. That'd be a great result for him in the NSX. We will keep an eye on that one. Kingma has taken that quite easily. And that... Pren pits. Well, that's probably why he took it so easy. Where is Pren and where is Racing at Home? If Pren has a long enough stop... just 8 cars running. Wow, what a race of attrition it has been. Okay, he picks up a time penalty, but he's about a lap behind the next car, so he's not really going to do anything. He's last of all, which is crazy to say, which is only 8th place, and he's last of everyone. Pren, just going out the pits, Racing at Home, is coming down the pit straight. You can see Chicano. That's a bit wide from Vance. Chicano is gonna have to hope that Pren doesn't get in the way here. You can see how much he's just taking it easy. Taking every corner 1 or 2 gears higher than necessary. He wants this win. It will be his first of the season. I'm sure RS and Vance would want something to say about that. It doesn't look like Vance is going to have enough unless RS messes it up with just a couple of corners to go. That is Pren. Do not worry, that is not Chicano. Because here is Chicano. It says 130R in the final corner to go. He's Mega Cam 6th gear through 130R. Just taking it so easy. But he just has one more corner to negotiate. And in this race of attrition, Chicano wins the race. Along with it, he will take the championship lead. RS will take second, Vance will take third. The man who is tied with Chicano, Matt, I mean, you could say it was a good recovery to fourth, considering where he was, how many mistakes he made. Fourth is a good result for him. Nicky came across in 8th, racing at home takes 7th. There is Matt, he'll take 4th, he relinquishes the lead of the title. That goes to Chicano. And here is my driver of the day, Kingma. Yes, you can say it was a race of attrition, but he drove superbly all day. Very, very few mistakes. And he takes home a brilliant 5th place for the Acura. And Pren would take 6th. So, in a crazy, crazy race, Chicano wins with a 47.6 as his best lap. RS takes second, Vance a brilliant third, Matt recovering up to 4th to keep his title hopes well and truly alive. Kegma will take 5th, his best result of the season. Pren 6th after leading for so long. Racing at home will take 7th, and Nicky will take 8th. The last of the actual finishers. Fraggle will be classified 9th, JS 10th, and that is everyone that's classified. Everyone else would be out of the session. But yeah, that was a crazy, hectic race. We didn't know who was going to finish what position until it finished. So that was a brilliant race. We hope you join us next time here on Apex Online Racing, where we hope that the next race will be as brilliant as this, as we're starting to close down on a brilliant title fight containing several cars.